Looking for a good bromance? Fate of the Fallen is your book. And so are all of these. But besides a good bromance, Fate of the Fallen is great at subverting tropes. But seriously, Fate of the Fallen decapitates tropes. I just finished chapter 12, and this is one of the things I'm most excited for, seeing how these subverted tropes end up playing out into the end of the story. I was ready to DNF Fate of the Fallen after just the prologue. And I got a little bit more into it after the first chapter, but honestly, the next chapter wasn't that great for me either, and I was actually getting really disappointed and was ready to close the book forever. But I'm really glad I didn't. Aaslo is a beast, hands down. Aaslo is my favorite character in the Fate of the Fallen. He is the perfect, strong, but silent character. I have enjoyed basically every character that they've brought into the story, but my favorite so far has been the Marquis. His interaction with Aaslo was extremely surprising. Again, like you go with the subverting tropes, I did not expect them to form such a good bond right away, but even their bond was built on something very unexpected. Their conversation was very atypical of what you would expect from a country bumpkin meeting like a prince, basically, a Marquis, which I'm not sure what a Marquis is, but we'll go with it, royalty. I really hope the Marquis of Dovermeyer stays in this book and becomes even more a part of the story. Speaking of bromances, this bromance is crazy. My favorite part though is that Aaslo talks out loud all the time to Matthias, who is only in his head, and everybody around him hears him muttering and saying these tiny little things, and they just roll with it as if it's totally normal what he said. And every once in a while somebody will be like, who are you talking to? But hardly ever does the person around him even skip a beat and think that he's weird. I especially love and this was something that I didn't really see until after you get your first trope subverted. I'm kind of trying to avoid spoilers here, but I loved all of the puns. I just imagine that Kel Kade was rolling on the floor laughing while she wrote those first chapters, and all of the little puns, and they're even in, if you're just looking for one, it's even in the blurb of the little quote that she's got on the back of the book. It's just oh my gosh. As for other POVs, there's only one other POV so far, and that's Meropa. I didn't enjoy her first POV that much, but the second one around actually was super interesting, and now I am way more interested in the realm of the gods and how she's walking around and no one can see her, and there's these other creatures that kind of seem to be in between worlds somehow that are killing people. Her most recent POV added a whole nother level to the story that I didn't know I needed or wanted, but I do want it and I do need it. As for things that I'm not enjoying, I already said that I didn't really enjoy the beginning of the story, but they're also, toward these last few chapters to me, have seemed to kind of lull, and basically it's because at least I think that it's because Aaslo did what he came to do, and it kind of seems like he's just walking around reacting to events, and I want him to do something. It's really hard to make predictions right now because I feel like we kind of got to an end. Like I said, Aaslo did what he came to do, so what's next? We're kind of in this weird limbo stage right now, and we don't know what's gonna happen. Normally this would bother me, but I really want to know what's gonna happen. So number one, Aaslo is creating a pack. And I guess that's not future, it's kind of right now. But the Marquis is going to be part of his pack. Also, the two thieves, I can't think of their name, Marley and me. There are a couple other people that I think are potentials in this pack. I think Meropa actually, even though she's in this limbo world, there's a lot of limbo going on in this video. I think she could easily become a part of his little gang. I don't remember the name of this character, but the character who helps Aaslo in the castle, I think could potentially become another member of his pack. I also think that potentially some of the Royal Guard could become part of this pack, not necessarily because they want to be, but I think that Aaslo could end up like showing his dominance and becoming the leader of the pack. Number 2, Aaslo and Meropa. I know right now that those two characters aren't even connected, but I think that there is going to be some kind of love interest between the two of them. Number 3, Aaslo will become the god of death. When I was just brainstorming potential predictions, this one just kind of came to me out of nowhere, and I got really excited about it. And I don't know if it's going to happen or not, but Matthias's grandma, I can't think of her name, the High Sorceress, she says that there's just death around Aaslo. And maybe that means that he's like gonna kill people, but I feel like it's more than that. He's going to become the god of death and take the place of this god of death that seems to be breaking rules and doing things that the other gods aren't happy with. And honestly, I really hope it happens. I don't think that Aaslo should be molding and changing the way that he behaves for the king and queen. He doesn't for anyone else. He grew up as a forester, and because of that, people seem to forgive his lack of culture or his lack of diplomacy, and in fact, they embrace him instead of shunning him. I disagree. Nor the king nor the Marquis's guards have embraced him. They treat him rather negatively, actually, as if his mere presence offends them. He should be more careful. The king is a powerful person and could make trouble for Aaslo really, really easily. And even the Marquis's guards are an issue, because if Aaslo will be working for the Marquis, he will be in a vulnerable position, and I doubt the guards will give him a second chance. But that only makes my point more important. Aaslo is making enemies either way. He should lean into his personality, say what's on his mind, and let those who follow him follow him. He's already made enemies attempting to censor himself, so he should be speaking his mind and standing up to royalty instead of appeasing them. So, you want a lone forester out of the forest with what, 3 friends to stand up to the king of all the land? He'd be the kingdom's most hunted, especially since the king seems to have no interest in the end of the world, just comfort and happiness. Well, how else is Aaslo supposed to lead a revolution? Revolutions stand up to the way things are. Instead of molding to the powers that be, they stand for something and don't back down. Okay, but who says that won't happen? It's better to keep things on the DL rather than wake up the dragon and announce that you're stealing its treasure. I want Aaslo to take a stand, but I do think it could be potentially more fulfilling if more happens in the story first. Thanks for watching. If you're reading Fate of the Fallen, let me know what you think so far. Obviously, you need to hit that like button and, I don't know, subscribe maybe? And as always, I will see you guys in the next adventure.